Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. Today we'll be taking a closer look at the weapons of Mon Calamari Cruisers. The topic of this video actually comes from this individual who quite doggedly left many comments on the channel, sometimes upvoted by you guys, so I guess this is a lesson that if you want me to talk about something, continue to spam it until the community gets behind you. Also, at the end of the video, I'm going to be talking about the recent news from D23. Just consider that a little extra. I didn't think the new trailers or anything were worth their own video, but with that being said, let's get started. The misconception that we're seeing here is that Mon Calamari Cruisers have no weapons. He says at both Endor and Scarif, they do not fire a single shot, and there's sort of the secondary argument there that because they have no visible weapons, which we'll talk about, that they simply don't have guns. Let's first tackle the idea that Mon Calamari Cruisers are never seen firing weapons, because that's just not true. I'm just going to search up the most popular Battle of Endor video on YouTube so you guys can follow along with me instead of having to go into your DVD collection or Disney Plus. Anyway, admittedly you don't see a lot of lasers coming from the cruisers early on in the battle. That's because they're being attacked by TIE fighters, and during the Battle of Endor you don't really see capital ships engaging with fighters in that way. In fact, the capital ships as a whole, not just the Mon Calamari Cruisers, don't really do very much. However, in 438 and Prometheus of Video's supercut, we do actually see the first sequence with a Mon Cal cruiser and an ISD, and the cruiser, a very large one by the way, does actually fire off a turbo laser salvo. You can tell it's from the Mon Cal not only because it, well, comes from the cruiser, but because it has a very distinct sound. More like an ion cannon compared to the blasters on a fighter. And maybe it is an ion cannon instead of a turbo laser. Either way, this is the Mon Calamari Cruiser firing. It's true, say in the subsequent shot, that the Liberty here doesn't do anything, but neither does the ISD. That's just sort of how the Battle of Endor is. The clearest example of Mon Cal Cruisers firing comes coincidentally when Akbar is ordering the fleet to concentrate fire on the Super Star Destroyer. There you see not only what some fans call a pearly MC-80 fire on a Star Destroyer, but actually destroying it. From the bridge of the Executor, we also see another Mon Calamari Cruiser fighting with an ISD. Yeah, there's a lot of big ships flying around doing nothing, but that's just kind of what it was like in the movie. It's really more about starfighters. I'm sure if you go back to the earlier section of the battle as well, you can find sections where Mon Calamari Cruisers are implied to be firing off shots. Regarding the profundity at the Battle of Scarif, that ship definitely does less. I only watched the battle again in regular speed because, well, I already proved it at Endor. The only section that really stood out to me is this part where guns around the midsection of the Profundity's body are firing at TIE fighters. But yeah, we could have definitely seen some shots of it maybe shooting at the shield gate here. But I also want to talk about sort of why this happens. And I think the difference between Rogue One and the original trilogy is really helpful in illustrating this kind of Mon Calamari conundrum. So unlike in Rogue One, where the Imperial Star Destroyers, for example, are clearly firing the majority of their lasers from real fixed points on the ships, i.e. their cannons. If you watch the original trilogy as illustrated by, say, this scene where the Nebulon B for some reason is broadsiding the Executor, you'll see that most shots emanate from nowhere. And to my knowledge, there's nowhere in the Battle of Endor where the big guns of the ISD actually fire. Again, look at this scene. All of the shots are coming just from the ISD, usually from what I jokingly call the Oreo trench that runs along the ship. I'm gonna do a short about this on X Clips because this is one that comes up a lot. Make sure you follow there if you don't already. But I really like this image here from the Battle of Orinda. It shows two SSDs fighting, and true to the movies, the ships are just purely broadsiding each other with these guns, which are obviously contained in ship. So this is how we explain Mon Calamari Cruisers. Yes, they don't have clear external turrets, but they're operating like most ships in Star Wars do. Yes, we do see things like the Corvette with the visible turrets, but we also see internal guns everywhere from George's first Star Wars movie, this scene in A New Hope, to his final one, this scene in Revenge of the Sith. Pretty obvious, many guns on Star Wars ships are inside. Now, I'll probably have to borrow footage from this, so look for a watermark, but there's even a mission in Star Wars Battlefront 2, the new version, which shows this. You go inside a Mon Calamari Cruiser to disable the ion cannon. Actually, this concept art I found should be good enough, and the cannons are within the ship, and they fire outwardly without actually having an exterior turret. This is backed up in both source material and the look of Mon Calamari models themselves. Star Wars Legends calls these small pods which cover Mon Calamari Cruisers blisters. These can contain everything from shield projectors to communication equipment to, yes, gunnery stations. And if you look at this cross-section of a Mon Calamari Cruiser, you can see one of the blisters with a cutaway where the internal turbo lasers are shown. This is what Home 1 and the other MCs would have been like. The cross-section for the Profundity shows that it has what's called a weapon collar, which is actually exactly where the lasers come out from in the movie. This would have also been one of the early refitted cruisers, so it makes sense this one's firing off a little less than the ones we see at Endor. Without getting into too much detail, if you look at filming models for any of the Mon Calamari Cruisers, you'll see that there are little spaces where it could be implied that there are cannons. Now, maybe that's what the modelers intended, I don't know, but these are very obviously meant to be warships. These aren't transports, these aren't GR-75s, these aren't even tiny corvettes. In the script, the Rebel fleet is described as being made up of giant battle cruisers. Interestingly, the script also notes several sections which were cut from the battle, including one where the cruisers would have bombarded the surface of the Death Star itself, causing destruction within, which would have been absolutely amazing, and another which I actually saw referenced on Twitter today, where a Mon Calamari cruiser and a Rebel ship broadside each other from close range, like, as the script says, ancient seafaring vessels, with the Rebel ship coming out successful before being destroyed and taking down another ISD. So yeah, we'll call that thoroughly debunked. Thank you very much for the comment though. Alright, and to end this video, I want to talk about briefly my thoughts on D23, and overall I thought the show was okay. For those who don't know, D23 is the annual, I think it's annual, event where typically new Star Wars and Marvel and Disney projects are talked about. When it came to Star Wars this year, we really didn't get very much. In terms of Andor, we got a new trailer, and just barely new. It was essentially the last two trailers remixed, which I'm personally fine with. It makes me feel like they're super confident in the show they have, and I don't blame them. It looks phenomenal. We got a new trailer for the Mando Season 3. The kind of bummer about this was it's the same trailer that was shown behind closed doors at Star Wars Celebration and was since leaked out, so not a whole lot new there as well, although there were some differences between the leaked trailer and this one. We did get a little bit of Ahsoka, not a date or anything, and we got a brief look at Skeleton Crew. I was hoping for the announcement of something new. The only real concrete information we got was that the Bad Batch is being pushed to January, which to me is a bit of a bummer. Overall though, I didn't have too high expectations going in. Another real low point for me though was the Star Wars gaming side. The only thing we really got was more information about upcoming LEGO Star Wars packs, and even those are just character packs, so not feeling great about that. Overall though, whatever. I've got good hopes in Andor starting in a couple of weeks. I'm probably going to take things a little bit light on the main channel, as I have been until Andor starts up. I'll be focusing on my clips channels, but once things are going, I will be too. Anyway guys, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, let me know what's your favorite individual moment, and especially an underrated moment of any Star Wars space battle. For me, it's got to be that sequence where the Rebel X-Wings are flying in and out of the Shield Gate superstructure. There's something about that speed and movement that just feels like Star Wars to me. But guys, that's all for today. Until next time, be safe, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.